Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I've wanted to do a video series for a while now about how I've met some of the artists that I've worked with the last couple of years. This first story is about how I met AJR. So, 2018 Hangout Fest, Gulf Shores, Alabama. I thought it would be a cool idea if me and one of my best friends, Justin, would travel to Gulf Shores, Alabama and shoot our friends in Hippocampus because one, we wanted to celebrate Justin graduating from college, and two, we literally just thought it would be fun to drive out there and just shoot our friends that were playing a set at Hangout Fest.
This beautiful man's birthday. So if you'd be so kind.
Happy birthday, dear Jay!
After we get there, Justin and I are with Hippo, and we're basically backstage, kind of in the catering artist area, just sort of walking around. All of a sudden, I look up and I see Jack from AJR. I was a fan when I had first met AJR. So when I looked up, he was probably 10 or 15 feet away from me at the time because we were walking opposite directions. And as we were walking by each other, I sort of kind of tapped his shoulder and I said, "Hey, are you the guy in AJR?" We talked for like another minute and a half or so, and I said, "Hey, I'm a big fan. I listen to you guys all the time. I really appreciate the kind of music that you guys are trying to put out into the world. Just wanted to say I'm a fan, and hopefully I can catch you guys later." And that was it. At the time, I didn't realize how essential that first interaction would be. It kind of set everything up going forward. I look on Twitter and I see that Robert DeLong is opening up for AJR for the Click Tour Part 2. Which, if you guys don't know my story with Robert DeLong, you can click this video here. I created a short 20-minute documentary about literally just shooting one of his shows in Cincinnati, Ohio, and me driving from Austin to Cincinnati and back. So if you're curious and want to watch my first beginnings into the music industry, you can watch that video. So fast forward 6 months, I'm on that tour with Robert DeLong.
At least we'll have footage of it. This will be like, what's the movie with the big... Did you guys ever see the second one, 10 Cloverfield Dubstep? You guys want to go to a show tonight?
I'm doing his merchandise, I'm shooting his photography, and I'm shooting his videography. The first show is in Dallas, Texas, which is where I'm originally from, and it's at Southside Ballroom. Basically, after we finished loading everything in, I think it took probably like the whole morning and early afternoon, I'm walking backstage at Southside Ballroom, and I see the headliner's dressing room. And it has just the AJR printed logo on it. I kind of look in, the door's just slightly open, and I see Jack talking to Ryan, and I see Adam on his computer in the back. I don't know how I'm gonna do this exactly. I just know I need to make some sort of impression. I just need to go in there and just introduce myself just in a really professional and polite way, because again, working with the opener, you kind of have to respect those rules and boundaries with the headliners. So the door was kind of cracked open. I knocked on it and kind of allowed myself in, and immediately like everyone kind of like turns toward me and they're like, "What are you doing here?" Right? I see Jack, because he's the only one that I actually met back at Hangout Fest, and Ryan was just with him. I just kind of wave at him and I said, "Hey, I don't know if you remember me, but I met you at Hangout Fest earlier this year when I was with Hippocampus." And as I'm saying this, he's looking at me and he's kind of nodding his head and he's like, "Oh yeah, like I remember you, and also yeah, Hippocampus." Like, talked to him for a few more minutes and basically just said that I was working for Robert DeLong on the tour and I was doing his merchandise and shooting all of his content, and I basically just kind of offered my services. If you guys don't already have someone, I'd love to help. Just let me know. And immediately as I said that, Ryan kind of looked at me and he goes, "Hey man, that would be amazing. Could you shoot some stuff for us tonight?" Yeah. Like, absolutely. But I think it was a little bit more than that, because I was working for Robert, I was doing all of his merch, I was doing all of his photo, right? I was doing all of his content. So for me to shoot some of AJR's stuff at the same time, I knew that, one, I wanted to make sure it was cool with Robert, but two, I needed to sort of look at the scope of everything and just make sure that I could just do everything in the first place, right? So after the first show, Robert finishes up.
My name is Robert DeLong. It is an absolute pleasure to be here with you again.
He goes to the merch stand, I'm there, I'm selling apparel left and right. We have a line out the door and we're selling for about 25-30 minutes straight, and then by that time, AJR starts performing their first show. And I give it like another 5 or 10 minutes to see if anyone else wanted to buy some stuff. No one came. I grabbed my camera and I darted for the photo pit. I was really only there for, 1 to 2 songs at most before I had to run back to the merch stand, run back to the photo pit, shoot a few more songs, run back and forth. I had all of Robbie's photos and video and AJR's photo to edit that night, on top of loading out and settling the merchandise, which, if you guys don't know what that means, it's basically just cleaning up all the merchandise, settling out with the venue manager, getting our cut, sending it to Robbie's manager so they have all the information on how much we made that night, and then I could start editing everything from that night. I sent all the photos to Ryan at about 6:30 in the morning, and he hits me back at about 11:30 in the morning the next day. These are really great. Thank you so much for capturing these. Can you shoot us again tonight? All of this escalated to Raleigh, North Carolina. And earlier that day, Ryan had texted me asking me if I could come up to the dressing room to talk about a few ideas. I end up in the dressing room. The whole band is there. Ryan welcomes me in. We talk for a little bit, and they wanted a video. Just a promo video, just of that show. Now, at this point, I had done everything for free. I didn't ask for money, and I didn't talk about money at all. I didn't talk about any sort of pay rates or compensation. After we had talked about this video, Ryan asked me what my rate was. So this probably sounds risky to some of you who are watching this, knowing that getting paid is a huge portion. It's a big deal. There's not a lot of money in music photography, so if you're able to do something for free, it's a great opportunity at the very least. Ryan was upfront about it. Hey man, what's your rate? What do we need to pay you for this video? I was really hesitant about giving him a number. I didn't want there to be any sort of pressure about compensation between the two of us. Everything was already going so well, so I told him, don't worry about it. Let's worry about the video, let's focus on the art, let's put out something good together, and then in the future, if you guys want to do another video, then we can talk about some sort of compensation. So that night, I shot Robbie again, I did his merch, I shot AJR, and I made a video for him, gave it to him the next morning. Ryan had, I think Ryan, Jack, and Adam had one revision. I made the one revision, I gave them the cut, and they loved it. For a month straight, I shot Robbie's show every single day, on top of shooting AJR anytime they'd ask me to. We're entering one of the last shows in Denver, Colorado. Towards the end of the night, I'm settling out, cleaning everything up. By this point, all of the boxes that we had for Robert's merch were pretty much falling apart. I literally had duct tape wrapped around almost all of the boxes and consolidated like hoodies and t-shirts into one box, and was pushing everything out back and forth into the bus. And man, I remember it being so cold. And I remember not having any gloves. As I'm doing my last run out to the trailer, I hear, "Hey Austin, do you have a second?" I look over and it's Adam. I stop what I'm doing, I go over to him, and we're talking for a little bit, and he's basically just saying, "Hey man, the guys and I really appreciate everything that you've done for us. What are your plans next year?" I have the February tour with Robert, and that's it. Why? What's up? Well, we have our biggest headlining tour next fall. We're gonna be playing venues like Red Rocks, Radio City Music Hall. Our production is going to be completely different, and the guys and I are wondering if you want to work with us next year. Do you want to come on tour with us? Do you want to produce our content? Do you want to shoot our photo, our video? Of course, yes, absolutely, yes. Of course I want to. And fuck, that was it. I made it. Not that I hadn't made it before with Robert, but everything that I had done up until that point mattered. It all came into fruition. Everything worked with AJR. So I said yes. I finished packing up all the merchandise. I packed the rest of the trailer, and we finished out the rest of the tour.